This has been the focus of our conversation on this podcast today.
Joining the conversation is so easy with Shayono Kimbaloi on Mike On Podcast.
I'm Sean Kimbaloi.
On Twitter Spaces, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Instagram Live at the Mike On Podcast.
When people want to protest and they give you notice, long notice of protest, you needn't wait until they start the protest before you start showing them that you get it. Because the people have a right to let you know how they're feeling. And you all, everybody agrees that, oh, there's poverty in the land, but that's hogwash. If you agree that there's poverty in the land, what ought you to do about it? I can give you a few quick fixes. When you are running an austerity measure in a nation, it has to make sense to whoever is in charge of the country that they should cut some of the luxuries that they are enjoying. If you did that, people will say, oh, okay, they listen to us. What have you really done? Have you listened to the speech of the president with due respect to him? What has he really said? I hear you. Meaning what? What am I doing about subsidy? Nothing. What am I doing about price of food? Yappity yap, yappity yap, yappity yap. Nothing concrete, nothing easy to. I've given money to state governors. But you've been doing that since day one. Has it worked? Oh, I'm going to send you more rice. Yes, if you can find it. And then when you send us 20,000 bags of rice, after it's finished, what next? So, Sheyi, congratulations on your new appointment. I accept with you that, yes, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu campaigned on a set of ideas. Those ideas are the ideas he's running. And to that extent, he has not deviated from the grand norm by which he hoped to fix the country.
So he has been consistent with his campaign
the
promises.
Concept, look, you see, economic theories are in silos. If you are running a neoliberal economic theory, there's a way you behave. He has not behaved outside how you will expect somebody who is running on this type of policies to behave. He has not.
So to the letter, to the books that he presented, he has followed through.
Yeah,
He's consistent.
He has followed through on the promise of how he intends to go about things.
But why is the economy faltering?
Because the way he said he's going to go about things is not the only way to go about things, and it is not totally.
Those who are fighting against some of the policies of government have held Nigeria down for a very long time, and we have to break away from these shackles. If not for the recent issues that happened with somebody like Dangote, we probably wouldn't have heard his voice when it comes to national issues. We don't hear such voices, you know. And so when certain policies start biting down on people and they're speaking up, it is good for the nation, you know. And so I encourage Nigerians to speak up. Please, by all means, use the means that you have to speak up. But at the same time, don't destroy the nation while you're doing so.
Valuation of the currency has never helped anybody. And you cannot devalue the currency and at the same time increase the cost of light, energy. How are you going to even help manufacturers? Electricity tariff. So it seems like they came in and they were eager to make the books blue. That's what I mean. You know, the books were red. So they were so eager. They wanted to make it blue. In trying to make the books blue, they weren't thinking about the people that were carrying the burden of making how it got red. And that trying to make it blue may still pressure the people more. Why do the people have to be patient with them after close to 9 years, going to 10? And you have only a 4-year mandate anyway, and you have used 1 year and 2 months is gone, and you are still putting your hands up and making excuses and asking them for patience. What will happen? You want to rule over dead people, or is it only when they get to the grave before your policies will not make sense even to you? We can give them time. They have 4 years. We'll see how it goes. I'm not even sure that you can be running full speed in the wrong direction. You'll be in a hurry, but you're in a hurry in the wrong direction. You need to remove the devaluation of the currency. Nobody allows their currency to become so weak. You need to figure out, it's a national emergency if Dangote's refinery is not working. That's a national emergency. You need to give it all the attention it deserves. Because you know that was something that was to hopefully give us local petrol, PMS, and all the things in hand.
The buffer.
Give it raw. And now, the guy has done it, he's built it, it's taking so long energy, so much money, and suddenly we are only hearing story. You are the minister, the president made himself Minister of Petroleum. Why is Mele still there? To suggest that all of the years that they were doing the things that they were doing in NNPC, there's no need for an audit, there's no need for a change of guard, there's no need for a review of the place. Look, we can take them sector by sector. You can't run Nigeria as if, they like to say, ICT. When you insist that you want to run Nigeria only on the basis of ICT, that means you are running Nigeria only for the South.
This has been the focus of our conversation on this podcast today.
Joining the conversation is so easy with Sheono Kimbaloi on Mike On Podcast.
I'm Sean Kimbaloi.
On Twitter Spaces, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Instagram Live at the Mike On Podcast.
This has been the focus of our conversation on this podcast today.
Joining the conversation is so easy with Sheono Kimbaloi on Mike On Podcast.
I'm Sean Kimbaloi.
On Twitter Spaces, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Instagram Live at the Mike On Podcast.
When people want to protest and they give you notice, long notice of protest, you needn't wait until they start the protest before you start showing them that you get it. Because the people have a right to let you know how they're feeling. And everybody agrees that, there's poverty in the land, but that's hogwash. If you agree that there's poverty in the land, what ought you to do about it? I can give you a few quick fixes. When you are running an austerity measure in a nation, it has to make sense to whoever is in charge of the country that they should cut some of the luxuries that they are enjoying. If you did that, people will say, okay, they listen to us. What have you really done? Have you even listened to the speech of the president with due respect to him? What has he really said? I hear you. Meaning what? What am I doing about subsidy? Nothing. What am I doing about price of food? Yappity yap. Nothing concrete, nothing easy to. I've given money to state governors. But you've been doing that since day one. Has it worked? I'm going to send you more rice. Yes, if you can find it. And then when you send those 20,000 bags of rice, after it's finished, what next? So, Sheyi, congratulations on your new appointment. I accept with you that, yes, Ashad Bola Ahmed Tinubu campaigned on a set of ideas. Those ideas are the ideas he's running. And to that extent, he has not deviated from the grand norm by which he hoped to fix the country.
So he has been consistent with his campaign
the
promises.
Concept, look, you see, economic theories are in silos. If you are running a neoliberal economic theory, there's a way you behave. He has not behaved outside how you will expect somebody who is running on this type of policies to behave. He has not.
So to the letter, to the books that he presented, he has followed through.
Yeah,
He's consistent.
He has followed through on the promise of how he intends to go about things.
But why is the economy faltering?
Because the way he said he's going to go about things is not the only way to go about things, and it is not totally.
Those who are fighting against some of the policies of government have held Nigeria down for a very long time, and we had to break away from these shackles. If not for the recent issues that happened with somebody like Dangote, we probably wouldn't have heard his voice when it comes to national issues. We don't hear such voices, And so when certain policies start biting down on people and they're speaking up, it is good for the nation. And so I encourage Nigerians to speak up. Please, by all means, use the means that you have to speak up. But at the same time, don't destroy the nation while you're doing so.
Valuation of the currency has never helped anybody. And you cannot devalue the currency and at the same time increase the cost of light, energy. How are you going to even help manufacturers? Electricity tariff. So it seems like they came in and they were eager to make the books blue. That's what I mean. The books were red. So they were so eager. They wanted to make it blue. In trying to make the books blue, they weren't thinking about the people that were carrying the burden of making how it got red. And that trying to make it blue may still pressure the people more. Why do the people have to be patient with them after close to 9 years, going to 10? And you have only a 4-year mandate anyway, and you have used 1 year and 2 months is gone, and you are still putting your hands up and making excuses and asking them for patience. What will happen? You want to rule over dead people, or is it only when they get to the grave before your policies will not make sense even to you? We can give them time. They have 4 years. We'll see how it goes. I'm not even sure that you can be running full speed in the wrong direction You'll be in a hurry, but you're in a hurry in the wrong direction. You need to remove the devaluation of the currency. Nobody allows their currency to become so weak. You need to figure out, it's a national emergency if Dangote's refinery is not working. That's a national emergency. You need to give it all the attention it deserves. Because you know that was something that was to hopefully give us local petrol, PMS, and all the things you know.
The buffer.
Give it raw. And now, the guy's done it, he's built it, it's taking so long energy, so much money, and suddenly we are only hearing story. You are the minister, the president made himself Minister of Petroleum. Why is Mele still there? To suggest that all of the years that they were doing the things that they were doing in NNPC, there's no need for an audit, there's no need for a change of guard, there's no need for a review of the place. Look, we can take them sector by sector. You can't run Nigeria as if, they like to say, ICT. When you insist that you want to run Nigeria only on the basis of ICT, that means you are running Nigeria only for the South.
This has been the focus of our conversation on this podcast today.
Joining the conversation is so easy with Sheono Kimbaloi on Mike On Podcast.
I'm Sean Kimbaloi.
On Twitter Spaces, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Instagram Live at the Mike On Podcast.
This has been the focus of our conversation on this podcast today.
Joining the conversation is so easy with Sheono Kimbaloi on Mike On Podcast.
I'm Sean Kimbaloi.
On Twitter Spaces, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Instagram Live at the Mike On Podcast.
When people want to protest and they give you notice, long notice of protest, you needn't wait until they start the protest before you start showing them that you get it. Because the people have a right to let you know how they're feeling. And everybody agrees that, there's poverty in the land, but that's hogwash. If you agree that there's poverty in the land, what ought you to do about it? I can give you a few quick fixes. When you are running an austerity measure in a nation, it has to make sense to whoever is in charge of the country that they should cut some of the luxuries that they are enjoying. If you did that, people will say, okay, they listen to us. What have you really done? Have you even listened to the speech of the president with due respect to him? What has he really said? I hear you. Meaning what? What am I doing about subsidy? Nothing. What am I doing about price of food? Yappity yap. Nothing concrete, nothing easy to. I've given money to state governors. But you've been doing that since day one. Has it worked? I'm going to send you more rice. Yes, if you can find it. And then when you send those 20,000 bags of rice, after it's finished, what next? So, Sheyi, congratulations on your new appointment. I accept with you that, yes, Ashad Bola Ahmed Tinubu campaigned on a set of ideas. Those ideas are the ideas he's running. And to that extent, he has not deviated from the grand norm by which he hoped to fix the country.
So he has been consistent with his campaign promises.
Look, you see, economic theories are in silos. If you are running a neoliberal economic theory, there's a way you behave. He has not behaved outside how you will expect somebody who is running on this type of policies to behave. He has not.
So to the letter, to the books that he presented, he has followed through.
Yeah,
He's consistent.
He has followed through on the promise of how he intends to go about things.
But why is the economy faltering?
Because the way he said he's going to go about things is not the only way to go about things, and it is not totally.
Those who are fighting against some of the policies of government have held Nigeria down for a very long time, and we have to break away from these shackles. If not for the recent issues that happened with somebody like Dangote.
in this edition of the Mike On Podcast.
The battle in Rivers State is escalating within the All Progressives Congress (APC). Former PDP Governor Nyesom Wike's role as Minister of the FCT in the APC-led administration may have complicated matters. The Rivers APC has accused the party's National Working Committee of inciting chaos, especially after a recent court ruling reinstated Chief Emeka Beke and his executive as the legitimate party leadership, dismissing Chief Tony Okocha's caretaker committee. The APC claims that attempts to impose a new caretaker committee undermine the judiciary's authority. How will this crisis be resolved? Is the NWC fair, and can they reconcile the factions? Or will courtroom battles continue? In this episode of the Micron Podcast, Seun Okimbalwe, host Darlington Nwaugu, spokesperson for Rivers APC, to discuss these critical issues. Join the conversation today.
Hello and welcome to the Micron Podcast. I'm Seun Okimbalwe. The Micron Podcast is an independent show separate from my weekday show on Channels Television, which is Politics Today, and the weekend edition, Sunday Politics. Today, we're turning our focus to the political landscape in Rivers State, particularly the ongoing tensions within the APC. The stakes are high, especially with a former PDP governor now serving in an APC-led federal administration. And don't forget the dynamics of Rivers politics. The Rivers chapter of the APC has raised serious concerns, accusing party's National Working Committee of inviting chaos to the state. This comes in the wake of a Rivers State High Court ruling that ousted the caretaker committee led by Chief Tony Okocha and reinstated Chief Emeka Beke and his executive as a legitimate leadership of the party. Rivers APC insists that a continuous attempt to oxygenate a gimmick in the name of a caretaker committee in Rivers State is a slap on the face of the judiciary. How will this crisis be resolved in no time? Is the NWC playing fair, and would they be able to bring the warring parties together? Or will there be more drama to what we are saying, or perhaps more interesting dynamics to play out in the courtroom? Today I'm being joined by, well, if you call him the spokesperson of the APC in Rivers State, in the light of the judgment of the court, you might be right. But amidst all of the controversies and the crises that has rocked the APC, it's better to stay safe and say a member of the APC, Mr. Darlington Woju. He joins us live here in our podcast today. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Are you the spokesperson of the APC in Rivers State?
Well, the last time I checked, I was elected on the 16th of October in the year of our Lord 2021. And there was a certain abracadabra that took place on 22nd of November last year, for which I had even appeared on Politics Today to talk about it bitterly, expressing views and drawing inferences and strong backup from our own constitution, which is our Bible, or in the Muslim, this thing is the Quran. So, just on Monday, a high court sitting in Port Harcourt reinforced my previous arguments, an argument I had held independently for 264 days.
Oh, it's been 264 days now that you have been in the backyard of your own party.
Exactly.
You and your the leadership, the rest.
Exactly.
But there are those issues within, before the emergence of Tony Okocha as the chairman of the caretaker committee or the caretaker committee, there were also internal wranglings within the leadership of Rivers State in the APC. And there are those issues that are there. So there are issues that a lot of people will say they were self-inflicted pains that caused the emergence of the caretaker committee. But accusing fingers that are being pointed to people who are outside of the party at the time, that those who say politically is unfair. you and yourself in the party caused the problem for yourself. How do you react to that?
Well, if you say that there were internal wranglings within the political party, now there is no family that does not, even between a husband and a wife, there are issues that come up every once in a while in any political arrangement. So it would not be right for me to sit here to say or to claim that all was well. Or
all was not well with the APC at that time.
Starting from 2015, not at the point when this announcement of dissolution was made. Because now, if I walk you back history a bit, in after the 2015 general elections, the fellow you just referred to, Chief Tony Okocha, ran as a House of Representatives candidate of the party, and
of the APC.
Yes, and then
so he was a member of the APC.
Yes, as he then was, until he decided, together with very distinguished Senator Magnus Abe, to leave to seek, greener pastures elsewhere. And so, I would like to take it step by step so that I will not miss the point. Now, in 2018, which now culminated in that movement that I just referred to, there was a court case or a suit filed and promoted by the likes of Tony Okocha against the APC in Rivers State. That's Ibrahim Umar and others, which now led to the APC being delisted from the ballot for the 2019 elections. So we felt that there was no way someone who had promoted so much rancor and acrimony within our space could now be the best person that would lead the party at any point in time, even though there were no crises. If all were to be well, and given the history of this fellow or this individual, there was no way, if he stands elections within the APC space, I do not believe that he's going to pass such elections. Now, after the 2018 experience, which forced APC in Rivers State not to have a candidate, but to adopt the candidate of the AAC, Biopoma Awara, we now also had issues in 2022. What happened? Earlier in 2022, the National Secretariat of the party had instructed that there should be a revalidation exercise. And Tony Okocha and his friends decided against that particular decision or instruction or directive from the National Secretariat of our party. They refused to revalidate. And so in later in 2022 again, they went to court through their proxies, one Judge Olo and others, seeking again to invalidate the outcome of primaries of our party, which would have led us or kept us where we were as at 2019. So you see that there is a history of activities by this single individual to ensure that APC in Rivers State is kept in a state of perpetual quagmire. And so after our congresses, the same Chief Tony Okocha and his friends went ahead on the 18th of October. Don't forget the congresses held on the 16th of October, which was on a Saturday. By Monday, they went ahead to declare that they had parallel executives for the APC in Rivers State. And so you could see that there is a history of this kind of activity that is only aimed at imploding the party structure in Rivers State. So when the issues after the 2023 elections came up, the governorship candidate of our party, Pastor Architect Onyeko, led stakeholders of the party to visit His Excellency Alhaji Ganduje. And one of the things he told us on that day, on that visit, and the visit, by the way, was at our own instance, And one of the things he told us was that there are persons who were interested who were on the other side. Some agreed persons who left us in the course of the 2023 elections that were willing to come back and that we should open our doors for such individuals. And there are also persons who were completely outside of our party who were also interested in joining us. That was where we stopped or where we ended, because Ganduje was appointed by NEC on the 3rd of August. And so by 22nd of November, we heard an announcement from the Blues. No single stakeholder of the party was invited for any reasons for discussions anywhere at any level at any time. And you can quote me on that. And we have several high-profile individuals within the party. We have persons like Engineer Ten Jackridge, who in fact sponsored 28 offices, campaign offices for Mr. President.
But the talks out there was that it was Nyesom Wike who led the votes, or who helped President Bola Tinubu to win those kind of votes that he got in Rivers State. That's his talk, that most of you worked against the interests of the party at the 2023 presidential election.
Now, that is all blackmail. If you say most of us worked against the interests of the president, I think seated there, it's very easy for you to Google and get information with a click of a button. The state youth leader of APC had, in one of our engagements, welcomed the national youth leader, and they went to the 2 biggest local government areas in Rivers State and campaigned for the president till evening of that day. And so
are you saying that Nyesom Wike did not work for the president?
What we are saying is that by the end of the elections, there was a deliberate surge or sponsorship of information or deliberate narratives that were sponsored by his camp to ensure that he alone took the glory for Mr. President's success in Rivers State. Now, I say again that if you claim that one tree formed the forest in Rivers State, how about the likes of Magnus Abe, who also campaigned for Mr. President in Rivers State? Then how about Engineer Ten Jackridge? I just told you that he was able to give or donate 28 offices. Because
the issue here, Mr. Darlington, is the fact that your leader, and I assume that is your leader, who is the leader of the APC in Rivers State?
No, he is the leader of the APC in Rivers State.
Who?
Is
your leader?
Because he's the leader of the APC. He has not resigned from the party.
But so the question is that, just for a moment, the question is that because some of you who are loyal to Rotimi Amechi, it is believed that those of you who are loyal to him worked against the interests of Bola Tinubu because of the opposition, because he ran against Bola Tinubu. So what is the correct situation? What is the correct situation?
I just give you an instance, a live example. Has there been any evidence, any tangible evidence as to point to that direction that he either gave instructions or stopped any one of us from campaigning?
But did he work? Did Rotimi Amechi work for Bola Tinubu at the presidential election?
Now, let me tell you
Did he work for him?
Hold on now. I need to be frank and make full disclosures. Now, in the electoral process, in terms of voting, everybody votes in each in his own polling unit. Now, it is not, I cannot say I am a spirit to tell you here now that my leader, the Right Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, voted against our party's candidate. In fact, there was a picture that came, I don't know, somebody who went on social media to capture, I think I sent it to AIT. Because when this argument became so much, I had to dig deep to get some information. And the person caught Amechi voting for the APC. And we now said, what is this whole hula baloo all about? So there was a deliberate media campaign against the man, And the man also decided to keep quiet because the business or the agenda was to ensure that he was blackmailed sufficiently in the presence of the president and his team to ensure that because they know for sure that if Amaechi is in the room, you cannot be ahead of him. You cannot get anything. So this is all about the whole struggle, the whole noise. It's all about who gets what, the political what
equation.
No, the political the
advantage, the
yes,
benefit.
The benefits, the political.
It's
benefits.
just to sidetrack Rotimi Amaechi.
Exactly. Nothing more, nothing less. That is what all this is all about.
You think that?
Let me also give you another example. Someone who accused Amaechi of not supporting Mr. President in Rivers State was busy campaigning for the current governor of the state, that was Siminalayi Fubara, against his own party's candidate. Yes, the facts are there. Now, nobody has shown us, whether through publications, whether through audio or video, anywhere where any member of the executive of our party campaigned against the president. But what was out there, especially in the court, if you look at through the court, the affidavit that was deposited before the court, it clearly showed that we voted for PDP at the governorship and PDP at the presidential elections.
Is that what happened?
I said that was the claim before the court that was not backed up. No evidences to support.
So
such claims.
there are two things. It's
Yes.
either you worked against Bola Tinubu,
Yes.
or you supported
I did
him.
not vote for Atiku Abubakar. And if the elections come tomorrow, I will not vote for an Atiku Abubakar.
But did you
So
work
why would
voting
you
for Bola
now-
Tinubu and working for Bola Tinubu as a member of the APC? There are two different things.
You know, during the presidential campaign, I was a member of the publicity committee by the virtue of my position. And we even came for a meeting here in
But what is this Cold War? What is this Cold War? An unwritten feud between Rotimi Amaechi and Bola Tinubu political dynasties. What is going on? What exactly is the problem?
I do not think my leader has not told me anything about having personal differences with Mr. President. He has never done so. Let me also reveal this to you. And I stake my integrity to it. And Amaechi has never instructed me to insult anybody on his behalf. He has never done it. But there are several leaders in the politics of Rivers State who take pleasure in seeing other leaders being run down.
Okay, let me ask you this direct question.
I give that to him. I am not saying
hold on.
He's perfect.
Let me ask
no,
you.
I have not said so.
After the primaries of the APC and Bola Tinubu emerged as the candidate, how many of the presidential campaign did you witness that Rotimi Amaechi, as a leader of the party in the state, attended to support Bola Tinubu?
At the national level?
Yes.
I think I saw pictures of that of Adamawa. I saw pictures of was it Katsina also? I saw pictures. Yes, I saw those pictures.
Because
I saw
those are some of the criticism that deliberately Rotimi Amaechi shied away from campaigning or supporting Bola Tinubu at the national level.
Personally, I was worried what was happening. Now, on the day of the inauguration of Mr. President, I may be wrong, but the information I got was that Amaechi was not even invited for that inauguration. Yes, that's the information that I may be wrong, and I did not bother asking.
Do you feel that there is this way that Amaechi is being sidetracked in the scheme of things in the APC?
Well, personally, he has not told me that he's being sidetracked, but the activities that go on, leadership of political parties is not just based on maybe the position you hold. Our president left as governor very many years before now. But he was still leader of the political team in Lagos. So it is not. If you have, like, you see the case in Benue State, you see what is happening. A former governor who became SGF, and you now have a sitting governor. If in the case of Rivers State that we were fortunate enough to have had a governor, then and this argument starts coming, you will now say, okay, the governor, by virtue of being sitting governor, is the leader of the state and should be allowed space to also lead the party. But our own case is not like that. So you cannot say that he has had the space to freely express himself as leader of the party in the state, because politics is all about consultations. If you do not consult him, for instance, before you carry out decisions or you take decisions pertaining his state, he will feel alienated automatically because it's politics.
Within your party, is there some kind of grievance or some kind of animosity that Nyesom Wike is a minister in the APC administration? And he has said that he's not a member of the APC, he still remains a member of the PDP.
Well, before the appointments came, stakeholders of the party had written to Mr. President and said, yes, Mr. President remains the final, the buck stops at his table when it comes to decision making. And in a presidential system, you have the president taking charge to ensure that his agenda and his vision for the country is properly executed, and he has to choose his team, those who he feels will be able to drive his policies, and then deliver on his campaign promises to the people of Nigeria. Now, we felt that as a political party, we had very eminently qualified individuals who we put out there for Mr. President's consideration. Now, when he, even though it was completely subject to his own decisions, it was not a must thing. When he took the decision to appoint the current FCT minister, we left it at that. There were no protestations. There were no rallies. There were no abuses.
But some people within the party are not happy.
No, how would I know? I'm
asking you because you're a chieftain.
I'm not a mind reader, but I am telling you, I just explained to you what transpired before the appointments came. And after the appointments were made, everybody, as far as I'm concerned, rested that matter at that.
Let's look at what is happening between the NWC.
Yes.
And what is happening locally in Rivers State leadership of the. It does look like the body language of the NWC is tilting towards siding with Tony Okocha. Do you think so?
It's not about thinking so.
You released a statement today.
Yes, it's not about.
Warning
it's not about thinking. It's not about thinking. It is so. When you...
so you think that the Ganduje-led NWC is siding Tony Okocha against Emeka Beke leadership?
That is what it is. That is what is happening. Now, a situation where the NWC of the party gets an order of court, and then, after making arguments in that court, telling the judge he had no jurisdiction over the matter and all that it was... an internal affair of the political party. The NWC of the party, unfortunately and embarrassingly so, yesterday, addressed the media and making references to an ex parte order that was issued sometime in April of 2023 as reason for the dissolution of the executives, of the party in Rivers State. Now the question is, how come you never canvassed this position before Justice Aproko's court? Now, how come this matter has run for 9 months? You never for once put in any motion, whether even orally, pointing to the fact that there was an existing court judgment and that the NWC had acted in line with that court judgment. There has been no such court judgments anywhere. The only suit that came up in the course of the administration of Emeka Beke was suit number PAC/CS/975 2023. And it was an ex parte suspending 2 officers of the party. And you and I know, even though we never went to classes for law school, we all know that an ex parte cannot be extended beyond the period of 14 days. That is the law. And so you are now referring to an ex parte of April of 2023 as being reason for you to have dissolved validly elected executives in the year in November 22 of 2023. How many months? What was the timeline? What was the gap between April and November? How come it took you that long to now finally take a decision? And if they had such a court order, they would have jolly well presented it before the court, and the court would have even rested our matter and dismissed our applications. But nothing like that. Their claim was that we engaged in anti-party activities and that we voted for Siminala Yefobara as governor, and we voted for Anatiku Abubakar for presidency.
Is that not the case?
And
is that the
we just argued about all that now, and I told you that if there were to be elections now or tomorrow, I would not vote for Anatiku Abubakar.
So you did not participate in an anti-party activity?
So absolutely.
So the claims within your party, this is a fight, an internal fight.
It is. I told you that there is deliberate media orchestration.
And see what
is sponsored.
Yeah, look at
undermine the integrity of people.
Look at what Chief Tony Okocha is saying.
Yes,
he has come out today to say that there is a deliberate attempt by some element politically in Rivers State to score through and to bring down the government of President Bola Tinubu with whatever that is going on. And he's saying that the Emeka Beke re-emergence is all about that. Is that what you guys are planning? Because you look like you are not happy with the Ganduje leadership and the manner in which this has been treated, and there are fingers pointing to the fact that you and your group, led by Chief Emeka Beke, are not working for the interest of the president.
Now, this is the most fallacious story that I've heard in the past. We are in August now. The past 8 months. Nothing can be further from the truth. Now, I told you that this is a man, this is his style. It has always been his style, and he's known for this. Now, you wake up one morning seeking to gain undue advantages over others by painting yourself as being holier than thou in terms of support for Mr. President. Just 2 weeks ago, I made an opinion which was published in Tribune newspapers. You can Google it. My opinion over the hunger protests. And I did say clearly that if Mr. President had more persons as who as active and innovative as the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, that maybe we wouldn't have even seen such protestations. And so these are opinions that are already published. So can somebody who is anti-Mr. President make such opinions? And there are other ministers.
You did that in your own personal capacity. But Tony Okocha
I am the spokesperson of the APC.
Until recently.
Now, I am the spokesperson.
You re-emerged.
No.
Because
let me say this. You see, when people wake up to it will be unfair. I was trained by the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. That's my background. And I'm not going to check my background for anything. I have never for once betrayed my emotions about my positions when it comes to reverse politics. I have not, and I will never betray my own personal idiosyncrasies. I have what I believe in. I have my irreducible minimums. There are things I can never be found doing. And so, like I told you the other time, I said, if there is an Atiku Abubakar here now, as on the presidential ballot, I would not vote for him.
Because?
And if that is my belief. I feel that he does not have the capacity.
Well, I'm saying that you wrote about what you said about the present government in your personal, because you were suspended as far as the law was.
Not at all. Not at all. And I can't.
But there was a caretaker committee in place, isn't it?
Shehu, I said that opinion is an evergreen opinion. I can repeat it even today. I can. So saying that there are ministers on the cabinet of Mr. President who are doing fantastically well, who are bundles of ideas. You can, if you put a gun to my head, I will not change on that position.
You think Nyesom Wike is one of those? You think Nyesom Wike is one of those with fantastic ideas?
I do not live in Abuja.
So you don't know whether he performs or not.
I do not live here.
So you think that
I do not live here.
There are other ministers?
But let me tell you this: I have run a program for 6 weeks at IIG, and I know what the feelers are. I know what the sentiments are
about Nyesom Wike.
Yeah, about the Federal Capital Administration here.
But, so what are those?
I would not.
You don't think, as a Rivers man, you don't think Wike is working in FCT? Do you think it's one of the ministers you rate high? Why is it difficult for you to be able to?
Let me give you this instance.
Okay.
If you have a budget of over 1 trillion naira, and you now come up with completing projects that are 90% complete or 80% complete, in order for you to do publicity stunts, in order for you to do advertisements and show that you are working and show that you have capacity to work, that is not enough. Even when the roads they talk about, those who live in Abuja, I do not live here, and roads that are the city center. How about the far-flung areas of the city? So those are the kind of sentiments I personally have come to hear or learn about during my stay here. So, but I am not here to analyze what Wike has done or is not doing. But I've given you an example of someone whose position and office and authority and sphere of influence covers the entire gamut of the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. And I've mentioned the name here, and I can defend it anywhere. So it will be most unfair for anybody to sit down somewhere and say we are attempting or plotting to bring down the government of President Tinubu. That is most fallacious.
So you have a Tonye Cole.
Yes.
You have a Dakuku Peterside.
Yes, please.
You have an Rotimi Amechi.
Yes.
Yeah, Magnus Abe is
Jack Rich.
You have Magnus Abe is back in the party.
Yes.
Who is the leader of the APC in Rivers State?
Now let me tell you clearly. So, if you want to even debate leadership, party leadership, when the flag bearer of a party, in fact, when Tonye Cole emerged, you have his contact, you can reach out to him. Immediately he emerged, the leader said, we now have a flag bearer for our party. I think I should take the back seat. Please put Tonye Cole on the spotlight. Put him on the spot and find out. So they are not supposed to be squabbles when it comes to this.
So who is the leader of the party?
Everybody is supposed to understand how this works.
Who is the Rivers State APC leader?
The leader is
as
Amechi.
Of today?
It would be unfair to deny him that right. He's been governor for 8 years. He's been a minister. He was speaker for 8 years. So I'm making arguments about it would be unfair.
Would you think that it would be necessary for the president and the party leadership to recognize Rotimi Amechi with what has happened in the past days publicly, to be able to assuage whatever is the internal political wrangling?
So what I know is that in politics you can never say never, and these are individuals that I have not come to the level of maybe bringing both of them together or asking to know when this person will go visit this person. After all, after the primaries, Mr. President did visit Rotimi Amechi's house. I was not there. And they must have met again afterwards. So, when people who act as wannabes try to put themselves in positions that they are not ordinarily in, then you just wonder and you shudder.
So there are issues within the APC.
In Rivers
State.
And those issues have been lingering. Mm-hmm. And I say here today that for the sake of history, because it's like when people hear me speak about Tony Okocha, they say, is it that he hates him so much or he does not want him to? It is not so. But it is the fact that someone who has been disruptive in all his activities towards the APC in Rivers State cannot even fit in to lead the political party, because there are several biases against that individual. And so we now felt that by the reason of Alhaji Umaru Ganduje trying to impose Tony Okocha on APC members in Rivers State, this was an attempt to give a dirty slap on the faces of all the stakeholders. Now, in the last elections, our campaign coordinator for Ahoda West, a PhD candidate, in fact, he should have graduated a week before he was killed. And he left a 2-month-old baby with his widow. So how would you expect persons like us, who have seen it all in terms of followership, who have seen how our campaign venues were bombed? My shoes are still at Okrika to date. I don't know where they are. Because we went for campaigns and we came under heavy attack. And I was seated right at the back, right behind Dr. Dakuku Peter's side. So people have seen death. And you now suddenly tell them that somebody who has been orchestrating divisions within the party should now come and lead the team. How?
Why is Rivers politics violent most of the time? Why?
Well, I should say that it is because people do not have the fear of God.
Because it sometimes involves bombs and guns and bullets.
I will start with that. I'm not trying to bring in my faith into this whole talk, but I'm saying that people do not have the fear of God.
So most politicians in Rivers State don't have fear of God.
Yes, of course, that's what it is. Now, Sheon, there's something that comes with someone who fears God, whether Muslim or Christian. I have very wonderful Muslim friends. They are never desperate. They are always contented with what they have. And so that is what it is. Persons who choose deliberately to be desperate, they feel that it should be them. And if it is not them, the whole place should go down. That is what is happening in the politics of Rivers. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing more.
In fact, there is even a bigger crisis in Rivers State. The feud between that we saw the governor, the House of Assembly, the minister, and all what have you.
Yes.
What do you think is the solution in resolving this? Because there seems to be a lot of distraction to politics rather than to governance.
Shehu, the other day I told somebody that the development is stagnated in Rivers State. Now, if you look at the IGRO of the state, you now also look at attracting foreign direct investment into Rivers State. You will agree with me that in the last 10 years or even more, the state has hardly known peace. And so the measure of peace or the quantum of peace available in a geographical location is also or is arguable, to have a direct impact or effect on the level of development that comes to such areas. Which businessman will come and put in billions or trillions of naira into Rivers State when you know that the state is unpredictable in terms of its security and all that? So the fear of having investors, genuine investors coming to the state to invest in order for us to diversify. Because I've always argued that there is no way on earth we can keep on living on the proceeds of oil. And this dependence on this single source, which, by the way, will soon dry up, cannot help us. What are we going to tell generations unborn? In my first degree work, I worked on post-impact monitoring of the New Calabar River. And so I understand what it means or what it is about oil impact.
On a final note, how do you resolve the crisis bedeviling the APC in Rivers State? What is the solution?
Well, I think that what the solution is that you need to invite Chief Emeka Bekee, who was validly elected.
Who are you referring to now? Who should invite him?
I mean Emeka Bekee.
Who should invite him?
The national he is open for
Abdullah Ganduje, the chairman.
Of course, he is our chairman. Have we said he is not?
So he should invite Emeka Bekee.
What we only argue is that the manner in which the matter is being handled is embarrassing us as members of our political party. How can the National Working Committee of our party not know that there was never a judgment against APC ESCOs in Rivers State? How? It means, and it points to the fact that there is no institutional memory. And that is sad for us as a political party.
So what do you do to move forward? What is the solution?
What I think is the National Working Committee under Ganduje should invite Chief Emeka Bekee on the way forward. And,
that's it.
And it's simple, yes. Because we actually need to move away from this point. And then get to a point where we'll be able to coalesce into a party that can actually fight and win elections.
We need also to bring Tony Okocha in.
It's difficult for me to say because
if he challenges that case and wins in court, what happens?
Why I say so is because Tony Okocha does not work for himself.
Who does he work for?
He works for the FCT minister.
So what does that mean?
What it means is that he is going to take instructions from his paymaster. It's as simple as that. Whatever he is instructed to say or do, that's what he's going to do. Now, if you want to move the party forward, there are persons who had the mandate of the people at the grassroots to represent the party. Why don't you? There is also nothing wrong with our chairman coming down to Rivers State, coming down to Port Harcourt to say, okay, let us sit down as members of this political party and as stakeholders to fashion a way forward. What would be wrong with that?
All right.
Would that be a bad idea?
Darlington Wojo, thank you so much indeed for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Now, that is our podcast with Darlington Wojo, who is the publicity secretary of the APC in Rivers State. Well, Rivers State is a major model in Nigeria's politics. So whatever happens in Rivers State, a lot of the times, is a picture of how the national politics play out. Well, in the coming days, we'll be seeing how these all pan out. But thank you so much, everyone, for being part of today's episode of the Micon Podcast. I'm Sean Okimaloye. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Micon Podcast with Sean Okimaloye. Micon Podcast for the independent mind.